going fine until I got sick. But something, in my mind was like, कुछ तो ठीक नहीं है. Nothing was showing cancer on my reports. She's like, it's stage 4 rare blood cancer. I used to have long hair. I do grey, eyelashes grey. And then I used to get tangled हो जाते थे मेरे बाल इतने ज़्यादा. But मुझे ना I didn't want to let go my hair. I was in so much pain कि मुझे वो पेन किलर पम्प्स देने पड़ते थे every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes.
हर रोज दुनिया भर में 50 लाख लोग कैंसर की वजह से अपनी जान गंवा देते हैं। इंडिया में हर 1 मिनट में किसी ना किसी को कैंसर डायग्नोज किया जाता है। और सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम, लोग डॉक्टर के पास तब जाते हैं जब काफी देर हो चुकी होती है। सिर्फ लेट डायग्नोसिस की वजह से इंडिया में कैंसर सर्वाइवल रेट सिर्फ 30 से 40% है, जबकि डेवलप कंट्रीज में ये रेट 70 से 80% तक है। पर ये सिर्फ एक मेडिकल या पर्सनल बैटल नहीं है, ये एक सोशल बैटल भी है। हमारे देश में आज भी लोग कैंसर को डेथ सेंटेंस मानते हैं, और कई साउथ एशियन फैमिलीज इसे एक बैड कर्मा की तरह भी देखते हैं। इस स्टिग्मा की वजह से लोग अपनी बीमारी छुपाते हैं, टाइम पे ट्रीटमेंट नहीं लेते हैं और अकेले ही इस बैटल से लड़ने लगते हैं। कैंसर इतना पावरफुल नहीं जितना कि ये स्टिग्मा है। लेकिन आज की हमारी गेस्ट एक ऐसी फाइटर है जो सिर्फ कैंसर सर्वाइवर ही नहीं बल्कि एक एडवोकेट भी है, जो इस स्टिग्मा को तोड़ रही हैं और कैंसर पेशेंट्स की आवाज बन रही हैं। तो चलिए मिलते हैं हरजीत कौर से। हाय हरजीत, आई वेलकम यू टू द अनुटॉक।
Thank you, Anu, for inviting me over.
योर स्टोरी इज इंस्पायरिंग। बहुत ज़्यादा स्ट्रगल्स हैं। आई वाज लाइक, जब मैंने पहली बार आपसे बात करी, आई एक्चुअली मैं इतने सारे पीछे वाली स्टोरीज में चली गई थी। आई हैव सीन सो मेनी people struggling with this, and last year only I lost one of my very dear friend because of blood cancer. And you are a fighter. I would like to start with to tell people to know about what is this all about. ये जो टैबू है उनके दिमाग में, कैंसर होता क्या है, everything about it.
First of all, Anu,
Yes.
I would like to say I'm sorry for your, for your loss. So cancer, I think हमारी जो community है, the whole South Asian culture और community, I think whenever जब भी हम cancer word सुनते हैं ना, तो हम डर जाते हैं, right? तो आई थिंक मैंने भी अपनी पूरी लाइफ में कभी भी इस वर्ड को ऐसे नहीं सुना, लाइक बिकॉज वी नेवर टॉक। हमने कभी भी इस बारे में बात नहीं करी। एक होता है ना, एक ओपन कॉन्वर्जेशन तो कभी हुई नहीं कैंसर को
Yeah.
लेके, बिकॉज आई थिंक हमारी फैमिली में या किसी की भी फैमिली में नहीं हुआ होता तो नहीं नहीं बात करते, अगर होता भी है तो दे हाइड इट,
Yeah,
राइट?
and you had very early detection
Yes.
at the age of
So
32.
I was in Canada.
Okay.
Actually, मेरे husband and I, we moved to Canada in 2018. We got a
Okay.
job there. I Before that I was in Dubai, and I'm originally from India. My hometown is in Kanpur,
Okay.
and my in-law stays in Ambala. And we have been in Gurgaon. I think in 2013 till 2016 I was in Gurgaon, and then I moved to Dubai. फिर जब 2018 में we moved to this new country, like everybody dreams of moving to a
Yeah,
new country,
exactly.
having a family, having a life, having a house, having a good career. तो वो सब dreams और aspirations थी हमारे अंदर कि हम settle होंगे, and everything was going fine until I got sick. So in 2019 May में I started having fevers,
Okay.
normal fevers जैसे सबको होते हैं, right?
हाँ.
तो एक हफ्ता वो फीवर्स रहे मुझे। एंड वहाँ पे क्या प्रोसेस होता है, लाइक एवरी पर्सन हैज़ अ फैमिली डॉक्टर, जैसे यहाँ
Yes.
पे होता है,
हाँ जी.
समवन ही इज़ योर
हाँ, हाँ,
फैमिली
बिल्कुल,
डॉक्टर। तो
get a
वहाँ
check.
पे आई हैड अ फैमिली डॉक्टर, एंड वी वेंट टू सी हर, एंड उसने बोला कि हरजीत, इट लुक्स लाइक दैट इट्स अ वायरल और अ फ्लू, टेक टाइलेनॉल एंड एक
Yeah,
हफ्ते बाद यू विल बी
you'll
फाइन।
be fine.
तो ठीक है, एक हफ्ता पास हो गया, एंड देन ऑल ऑफ अ सडन आई यूज्ड टू गेट फीवर्स एट जो रेंज करते थे 100, 101, 102 तक चले जाते थे। एंड वहाँ पे उस केस में आई यूज्ड टू एंड अप गोइंग टू इमरजेंसी।
So was that a continuous fever you were having?
कंटीन्यूअस एवरी डे आई यूज्ड टू गेट
Even
फीवर्स
after taking the Tylenol?
आफ्टर टेक टाइलेनॉल टू, लाइक वो
Okay.
फीवर स्टॉप ही नहीं हो रहे थे। तो आफ्टर
Okay.
अ वीक वी वेंट टू सी माय फैमिली डॉक्टर अगेन। उन्होंने कुछ ब्लड वर्क किए, कुछ ब्लड टेस्ट किए, और सब नॉर्मल था, उसमें कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं दिख रहा था कि कुछ अलार्मिंग है। तो आई वेंट होम, एंड ऑब्वियसली जब आप बाहर रहते हो तो यू हैव टू डू एवरीथिंग बाय योर ओन, यू डोंट हैव योर फैमिली और यू
Yes.
डोंट हैव दीज सर्विसेज ओवर देयर। माय हस्बैंड वाज बैक टू वर्क, आई वाज एट होम, मेरे को ना चिल्स आते थे बहुत ज़्यादा। सो
Okay.
एवरी 2-3 आवर्स मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा चिल्स आते थे, माय बॉडी यूज्ड टू शिवर। तो उस टाइम पे लकीली माय हस्बैंड वाज वर्किंग वेरी क्लोज बाय, ही यूज्ड टू कम होम। ऐसा हाल हो गया था कि मैं उठ के कुछ अपने लिए ले भी नहीं पा रही।
Oh.
So I because imagine a
It
person
must be
going
like
through 1 or 2 या 103 का फीवर जिसको हो, वो मूवमेंट करने की भी हालत में नहीं रहेगा। तो एक दिन ऐसे ही आई ब्लैक्ड आउट वॉशरूम में ना, मैं बेहोश हो गई एंड आई गॉट हर्ट यहाँ पे एंड देन माय हस्बैंड केम इन एंड ही टुक मी टू इमरजेंसी स्ट्रेट अवे एंड वहाँ पे उन्होंने सारे टेस्ट किए एंड उन्होंने भी यही बोला कि हरजीत एवरीथिंग लुक्स फाइन, यू नो वी यू जस्ट हैव फीवर्स, तो आप
okay.
टाइलेनॉल लो एंड जस्ट टेक केयर एंड टेक रेस्ट। बट समथिंग इन माय माइंड वाज
Bothering
लाइक
you.
कुछ तो ठीक नहीं है,
Mhm.
बिकॉज़ एक तो मैं कुछ कर नहीं पा रही थी। आई वाज़ कंप्लीटली बेडरिडन, हाई फीवर्स थे, ना खा भी
Mhm.
नहीं पा रही थी एंड आई स्टार्टेड हैविंग अल्सर्स इन माय माउथ। तो बहुत
Okay.
दिक्कत हो रही थी,
Okay.
कुछ भी करने में। तो फिर हम फाइनली फैमिली डॉक्टर के पास दोबारा गए, फिर उसने कुछ टेस्ट किए, उसने कुछ लिख
Uh-huh.
के दिया। शी एक्चुअली रेफर्ड मी टू इन्फेक्शियस डिज़ीज़ स्पेशलिस्ट वहाँ पे।
Okay.
हम उनसे मिलने गए, उन्होंने कुछ और एक्सटेंसिव टेस्ट किए, किसी में कुछ नहीं आया। एंड देन हमने बोला कि क्या हम सीटी स्कैन करा सकते हैं? बिकॉज़
Okay.
इट्स अ पब्लिक हेल्थ केयर
All by
सिस्टम।
yourself, you.
हाँ, तो वहाँ पे आप खुद जाके कुछ नहीं करा सकते हो,
हाँ.
अनटिल अनलेस यू हैव अ रिक्विजिशन, आप कुछ नहीं करा सकते
Mhm.
हो। तो दे वर लाइक कि नहीं, इसकी ब्लड वर्क में तो कुछ नहीं दिख रहा है, तो वी कांट गिव हर अ सीटी स्कैन
Recommend.
डायरेक्टली।
Exactly.
तो उन्होंने कहा आप रेस्ट करो, मेक श्योर शी राइट्स हर फीवर्स कि कितनी देर में फीवर आते हैं एंड ऑल दैट। आई यूज्ड टू मेंटेन एन एक्सेल फाइल।
Oh.
इमेजिन करो मुझे हर 2 घंटे में फ़ीवर आ रहा है, आई यूज्ड टू राइट इट कि इस टाइम पे फ़ीवर आया, इसके 2 घंटे बाद मैंने टाइलेनॉल खाई, उसके बाद फिर फ़ीवर आया। तो आई
Mhm.
यूज्ड टू प्रिपेयर दैट चार्ट फॉर माय नेक्स्ट मीटिंग।
And it was
एंड
just you and your husband.
हाँ, it was just us. It was so overwhelming for him because he was working. I was working before that, but then obviously
You
I
had to
was
quit
not well,
too.
so I
Yeah.
was in a sick leave. तो फिर फाइनली उन्होंने जब ये सब देखा और हमने बहुत पुश किया, वी रियली पुश्ड हार्ड, क्योंकि उस कंट्री में एक तो हम इमिग्रेंट थे, हमें नहीं नॉलेज थी। इंडिया में क्या होता है, आप जाते हो, आप पैसे देते हो, सब हो
बिल्कुल।
जाता है, राइट? वहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं है, इट्स टोटली डिफरेंट, यू हैव टू फाइट
Mhm.
फॉर योर ओन हेल्थ। तो वी फॉट हार्ड एंड फाइनली दे एग्रीड टू डू अ सिटी स्कैन। और सिटी स्कैन आया 4-5 दिन बाद एंड हमें कॉल आता है कि हमें हरजीत को हॉस्पिटल एडमिट करना पड़ेगा। इट वाज़ अराउंड जून 2019।
Okay.
तो वी सेड ओके फाइन एंड हमने सारी रिपोर्ट्स इंडिया भी भेजनी शुरू कर दी थी। मेरे मामा ही इज़ अ डॉक्टर, माय आंट शी इज़ अ डॉक्टर। तो हमने सारी रिपोर्ट्स इंडिया भेजी एंड उसमें भी ज़्यादा कुछ दिखा नहीं किसी को। दे जस्ट सॉ सम एक्टिविटी इन माय एब्डोमिनल एरिया एंड दे डिड अ उसके बाद उन्होंने मेरी लैप्रोस्कोपी करी। उन्होंने हॉस्पिटल इसलिए एडमिट किया बिकॉज़ दे थॉट कि अगर हम हॉस्पिटल एडमिट करेंगे तो वी विल डू मोर
More
टेस्ट एंड
tests and
स्कैन्स एंड
diagnosis.
व्हाटएवर। तो जून 2019 से लेकर until September 2019 I was in hospital.
Is
Yes,
it?
yes.
And how about your fevers?
Fevers were never stopping. I was
Okay.
on IV fluid. I was on Tylenol every 2 hours, 3 hours. Fevers नहीं हो रहे थे
And they
stop.
didn't do the pap test.
हाँ, तो जैसे ही मैं हॉस्पिटल एडमिट हुई, सबसे पहले दे डिड माय लैप्रोस्कोपी, उसमें इनको कुछ नहीं दिखा, दे डिड अ कोलोनोस्कोपी एंड देन दे डिड एमआरआई, दे डिड और जो भी स्कैन्स होते हैं, फिर दे थॉट ऑफ डूइंग बिकॉज़ आई यूज्ड टू गेट लॉट ऑफ पेन ऑन माय लेफ्ट ब्रेस्ट, so they did a breast biopsy and उसमें भी कुछ नहीं निकला एंड देन सो 2 ढाई महीने तक तो सिर्फ टेस्टिंग होती रही बिकॉज़ कुछ भी नहीं आ रहा था, लाइक नथिंग वाज़ शोइंग कैंसर ऑन माय रिपोर्ट्स। तो ये सब टेस्ट को 2 ढाई महीने
And
लग
no
गए।
inflammations in your
हाँ,
blood
तो
work.
माय बॉडी स्टार्टेड स्वेलिंग अप।
Okay.
जब क्योंकि आईवी फ्लूइड्स मिल रहे थे, माय डॉट
हाँ,
बॉडी
हो
स्टार्टेड
सकता है।
स्वेलिंग अप एंड ऐसी स्वेल हो गई थी कि आई रिमेंबर लॉट ऑफ न्यू डॉक्टर्स यूज्ड टू कम इन एंड सी मी बिकॉज़ किसी को कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा था व्हाट वाज़ हैपनिंग विद मी। सारी रिपोर्ट्स इंडिया जाती थी, इंडिया में भी किसी को कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा था, बट एक ऐसा टाइम आ गया था कि वी थॉट वी आर गोइंग टू इंडिया बिकॉज़ यहाँ पे रिज़ल्ट नहीं आ रहा है, लेट्स जस्ट गो टू इंडिया एंड किसी और को इंडिया में दिखाते हैं। तो वी प्लान्ड दैट वे एंड उसके बीच में वी आस्क्ड माय मॉम टू कम बिकॉज़ मेरे हस्बैंड के लिए मेरे को हॉस्पिटल में मैनेज करना, काम पे
It
मैनेज
was
करना, एवरीथिंग वाज़ टू मच फॉर
too
हिम। माय
much.
ब्रदर मूव्ड टू द सिटी वेयर आई वाज़। सो ये दोनों काम के साथ-साथ मुझे भी मैनेज कर रहे थे हॉस्पिटल में, बिकॉज़ देयर वर टाइम्स आई वाज़ सो वीक, मैं ना हॉस्पिटल में भी फेंट हो जाती थी कई बार। तो नर्सेज़ यूज्ड टू टेक केयर ऑफ मी, बट वो टाइम बहुत अजीब था हम सबके लिए, बहुत बहुत ज़्यादा, मतलब इट वाज़ वेरी पेनफुल फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस टू अंडरस्टैंड कि क्या हो रहा है।
क्या हो रहा है?
फिर मॉम आई एंड आई रिमेंबर इट वाज़ सेकंड वीक ऑफ अगस्त ऐसा ही कुछ था, एंड वी प्लान्ड ऑफ गोइंग बैक टू इंडिया, लाइक एवरीथिंग वाज़ प्लान्ड कि हम हरजीत को इंडिया लेके जा रहे हैं। माय मामा ओवर हियर एंड माय आंट, एवरीबॉडी वाज़ लाइक ब्रिंग हर टू इंडिया। ठीक है? तो उस ऑल ऑफ अ सडन उस 1 हफ्ता पहले डॉक्टर्स आए रूम में एंड दे सेड कि कैन वी डू वन लास्ट बायोप्सी, एक लास्ट टेस्ट करना है हमें, एंड सॉरी बट वी आर नॉट एबल टू फाइंड एनीथिंग बट वी वांट टू डू आवर बेस्ट।
या
तो हमने कहा ठीक है, जहाँ इतने स्कार्स और इतने
जहाँ
टेस्ट हो
एग्ज़ैक्ट
चुके हैं, लेट्स जस्ट डू, बिकॉज़ मैं ऑलरेडी थक चुकी थी। आई
आई
वाज़
कैन
सो
अंडरस्टैंड
एग्ज़ॉस्टेड, टायर्ड, आई वाज़ फ्रस्ट्रेटेड, बिकॉज़ मेरी लाइफ़ कंप्लीटली ऊपर-नीचे हो गई थी। मैं जॉब पे नहीं जा पा रही थी। आई वाज़ इन
सेम
हॉस्पिटल फॉर 2 एंड अ हाफ मंथ्स। खाना-पीना नहीं खा पा रही थी। मेरी बॉडी स्वेल अप हो गई थी। सो आई वाज़ इन टू मच पेन एंड आई वाज़ नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि क्या हो रहा है, एंड एवरीबॉडी वाज़ कन्फ्यूज़्ड।
हाँ, क्योंकि आप कनाडा गए हो मतलब सो मेनी थिंग न्यू इन
हाँ,
योर माइंड और
you
एकदम
feel
से
like you have been into a new country, you will do
हाँ,
this, you will do that, you'll dream of so many things, and all of a sudden सब कुछ अजीब-सा हो रहा था हमारे साथ,
हाँ,
लाइफ ऐसे हिल गई थी टोटली। तो डॉक्टर्स डिड दैट टेस्ट व्हिच वाज़ स्किन पंच बायोप्सी, वो जो बहुत रेयर की जाती है,
ओके,
राइट? पेट स्कैन वगैरह सब हो चुका था पहले, उसमें कुछ नहीं आया था, कुछ
अच्छा,
भी लिट अप नहीं हुआ था। फिर जब इन्होंने स्किन पंच बायोप्सी करी, एंड आई रिमेंबर इट वाज़ 27th ऑफ अगस्त, हम डिस्चार्ज पेपर्स रेडी कर रहे थे, सब कुछ रेडी कर रहे थे। वी वर प्लानिंग टू टेक अ फ्लाइट बैक टू इंडिया,
इंडिया,
एंड माय हस्बैंड वाज़ विद माय फैमिली डॉक्टर कि हम हरजीत को कैसे इंडिया लेके जाएँ, बिकॉज़ एक तो उसको हाई फीवर्स आ रहे हैं, गेट्स चिल्स,
चिल्स,
काँपती है, फेंट हो जाती
डिज़ीज़,
है, तो 24 आवर्स फ्लाइट में हम कैसे इसको बिठा के इंडिया
इंडिया
लेके
लेके
जाएँ।
जाएँगे,
तो ही वाज़ डूइंग ऑल दैट
वर्क
मीनव्हाइल,
या
और मैं रूम में थी, मॉम वाज़ गेटिंग माय पेपर्स एंड डॉक्टर से बात-वात हो रही थी, एंड ऑल ऑफ अ सडन एक डॉक्टर रश करती है रूम के अंदर। आई स्टिल रिमेंबर लाइक शी जस्ट कंप्लीटली रन्स एंड comes and she's like, "Harjeet, I want you to stay." And I was like, "We are planning to go." She's like, "I want you to stay because we got the diagnosis." And I was like, "Okay." And us time pe I remember I was in a bed and my mom was standing next to me over here. I think my brother was there. He just came. She's like, "We got the diagnosis. It's subcutaneous panniculitis T cell lymphoma." मुझे नहीं पता वो क्या बोल गई. And I
हाँ,
was like, "What is it?" She's like, "It's stage 4 rare blood cancer and we are working on the prognosis report, but your condition is very sick. We need to start the treatment ASAP." And when she said the word, "You have cancer," I completely, went into that zone कि मैं numb हो गई. And I could see my mom next to me standing और उनकी आँखों में पानी आ गया था. And I
या
felt कि if I melt, अगर मैं 1% भी रोई
तो
या
she'll
कुछ भी
break,
हुआ तो she will not be able to handle herself or me. I just kept that strong head, in front of my doctor, and I was like, "Can I speak to my husband?" And I called him and I told him that, we got the diagnosis, and मुझे उसको फ़ोन पे नहीं बताना था. So I just told him, "Please come." And he entered the room and doctors explained us that, we got the diagnosis and we are waiting for the complete report, but she doesn't have much time. We need to start the treatment ASAP, and I would please request not to go back. Like, they literally requested us, please, I request you not to go back. Let us start the treatment. उस वक्त वहाँ के दिन के 3 या 4 बज रहे थे एंड हमें ना कुछ समझ नहीं आया. आई फेल्ट 3 महीने लग गए डायग्नोज़ करने को, और अब जब मैं इंडिया जा रही हूँ, दे आर सेइंग दैट डोंट गो, वी गॉट द डायग्नोसिस. ऑल ऑफ अ सडन क्या हो गया? वो एक माइंड में होता है ना कि आई वांट टू हैव अ सेकंड ओपिनियन. फिर हमने पूछा डॉक्टर से, माय हस्बैंड आस्क्ड हर दैट हाउ मच टाइम शी हैज़. वी नीड टू आस्क आवर फैमिली डॉक्टर, और वहाँ पे सबको पता था. ऑल द डॉक्टर्स, ऑल द नर्सेस न्यू दैट वी हैव बीन कम्युनिकेटिंग बैक होम इन
back
इंडिया
home in
टू.
India, yeah.
कई बार क्या होता था जब डॉक्टर्स रूम में आते थे, वी यूज्ड टू पुट ऑन फ़ोन स्पीकर में करते थे, एंड यहाँ के डॉक्टर और वहाँ के डॉक्टर सुनते थे
Communicate.
कन्वर्सेशन, एंड दे न्यू इट कि हम ऐसा करेंगे. तो हमने सारी रिपोर्ट्स इंडिया भेजी. उस वक़्त इंडिया में
Okay.
रात के 3 या 4 बज रहे थे. तो वी वेटेड अंशुल, माय हस्बैंड आस्क्ड डॉक्टर कि हम कितना टाइम है टू स्टार्ट द ट्रीटमेंट. ही इज़ लाइक, आई विल गिव यू
आज की शाम या रात, बट प्लीज़ वी नीड टू
Started,
स्टार्ट
yeah.
द ट्रीटमेंट। फिर हमने रात को जैसे ही 8-9 बजे तो हमने इंडिया कॉल की, हमने अपने अंकल से बात करी, माय आंट, वी स्पोक टू देम, वी शेयर ऑल द रिपोर्ट्स टू इंडिया। उन्होंने जब रिपोर्ट्स देखी तो उन्होंने कहा कि वी डोंट वांट हर टू कम, प्लीज़ स्टार्ट द ट्रीटमेंट। द रिपोर्ट्स आर करेक्ट, कंप्लीट प्रोग्नोसिस रिपोर्ट एग्ज़ैक्टली सेम है और कैंसर बहुत रेयर है। बाय द टाइम वील ब्रिंग हर बैक, शी माइट नॉट हैव टाइम।
Okay.
तो they said that please start the treatment.
The only option left is
The
to start
only
the
option is to start the treatment
ASAP.
ASAP. So bus फिर we started the treatment the next day morning 9 o'clock. I remember the doctors rushed into the room. Obviously वहाँ का process थोड़ा different है. The
हाँ.
oncologist came and he sat with me and he explained
Process.
my husband and I that क्या type का cancer है. He explained कि this is very rare type of cancer. Her body is fighting with two different things right now.
Okay.
One is cancer. The other thing is HLH, which is an autoimmune disease.
Okay.
So can the thing is एक तरफ cancer है और एक तरफ HLH है. So so he explained it like that. I remember there are two armies inside her body and they are fighting with each other. So he explained it very clearly and he was like, we will try our best, give you the best of best treatment, but it's rare. So we don't have much study or things like that, but we'll start with the chemo and see how it goes. So that's what he said, and he said there are only few cases reported globally, probably 120, 150, and I don't have any case in Canada with this type of cancer. Yeah, and that moment I felt I was just 32 and मेरे को ऐसा लगा कि मेरी life तो roller coaster हो गई है. It's completely flipped now and I don't know what's ahead of this. And उस वक्त तो यही लग रहा था because it's stage 4, I might not survive because those are the stories you've been hearing since your childhood. Cancer है, वो भी
That's the
stage
first thing
4.
that comes to our mind is like how many days are left.
How many days are left? और cancer है, so वो भी stage 4 है. Generally people have this thinking, oh, stage 4 है, that's the last stage. People might
No
not
hope,
survive that.
yes.
There's no hope. So वो सब चीजें mind में आ रही थी, but I could not address those things because I could see you know, my people around and they were so much in
Sinking
stress
down
and
in
एक डर
stress,
से
yeah.
जी रहे थे. So I could not react anything in front of them. I remember the days when I was alone in the washroom or the room when they were not around. I used to cry at that time. I never used to cry in front of anyone because वो मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि अगर मैं अपने आप को strong दिखाऊंगी तो शायद उनकी strength भी बनी रहेगी. So that was one thing which I did most of the time.
That's a lot to take.
Yeah. But I think being strong was the only option for me. There was no other option. एक होता है ना कि choice नहीं थी
Being
मेरे
there,
पास.
that's why you're here. अगर वो उतना स्ट्रेंथ उस वक्त नहीं आता, अगर हम अपनी जंग ना खुद ही हार जाते पहले ही.
अगर मैं उस वक्त शायद वो स्ट्रेंथ नहीं दिखाती तो शायद मैं और मेरी फैमिली भी लूज कर जाती.
Yeah.
And I think that strength just came because of them.
I think the willpower is a major factor that plays a role.
But that willpower also comes within your people around,
Surroundings,
right?
people
अगर
around,
आपके आसपास के लोग भी strong enough हैं, आपको वो strength मिलेगी.
Yeah.
Right? अगर वो ही कमजोर पड़ जाएंगे तो आप नहीं कर पाओगे कुछ भी. तो आई थिंक हम सब आपस में ही एक दूसरे को वो स्ट्रेंथ दिखा रहे थे, वो जो स्ट्रॉन्ग फेस रख रहे थे. कोई भी मेरे सामने या कभी भी कोई ऐसे नहीं रोया. And I know I have listened, when my mom was alone, she used to cry or
Obviously, yeah.
so there were phases जब सब अलग अलग होते थे तो सबकी वो वीकनेस आ जाती थी. But then obviously chemo started. पिक लाइन के थ्रू हुई तो यहाँ पे पिक लाइन लगी थी मेरे हाथ में, जिसके थ्रू आपकी वेन्स के थ्रू कीमो मिलती है. वो थोड़ी पेनफुल थी एंड दे took me to get the PICC line inserted और कीमो स्टार्ट हो गई थी. 28th of August 2019 was my first chemotherapy and डॉक्टर्स ने बोला था कि कीमो will be very painful and
Okay.
obviously there are side effects. You will start losing your hair, you'll start getting nausea every time, weakness आएगी body में, so you have to take more fluids. थोड़ा सा अपना डाइट और खाना पीना और फ्लूइड ज़्यादा लेना है to take it out. तो आपको ड्रेन भी तो करना है ना, बिकॉज यू टेकिंग कीमो यू हैव टू ड्रेन एवरीथिंग आउट. तो उस टाइम तक मैं हॉस्पिटल में थी.
What the chemo does is to fight with the
कैंसर सेल्स, बेसिकली दे किल कैंसर सेल्स, राइट.
Okay.
जब कीमो आपको मिलती है, देयर आर डिफरेंट फॉर्म्स ऑफ कीमोथेरेपी ट्रीटमेंट. हर कैंसर का अलग टाइप ऑफ कीमो ड्रग होता है. तो दे स्टार्टेड द कीमो next day. Or the most challenging thing was to tell my dad in India. That was the most difficult part. I don't know who took the initiative, but I know my husband and my mom, they told my family back home, like obviously my in-laws, my dad, everybody was in India. So my husband and my mom took that step to tell the family. And that's not easy, right? Especially for my dad, because I'm very close to him and I had no idea how would he react. And he was all alone in India that time because my
Okay.
mom was there, my brother
Brother
was
was
there.
there.
We had extended family in India, so it was not easy for him to take it. And as soon as he got to know, thankfully the doctors and the psychosocial department and the social services in hospital, they wrote a letter so that my dad could flew and get the visa ASAP
Okay.
and he can come and see me. So that was amazing that the staff helped us to get the letter, so that because he didn't had visa, Canada
Okay.
का visa नहीं था उनके पास. So as soon as the letter went to India, he got the visa. He came before my second chemo. So he flew
And how
straight away.
frequent was that? Like the second
So
chemo?
my chemo was planned every 3 weeks,
Every
but my
3 weeks.
fevers never stopped.
Still, it was
Yes,
there.
my fevers never stopped. So there were times कि chemos के बाद मेरे को fevers आते थे and I used to end up going to emergency फिर मेरा क्योंकि I was losing
So
all the
after chemo, you were going home, back home, or
नहीं 2 chemos तक I was in hospital. So until September I was in hospital.
okay,
Or after second chemo they send me back home and they said that every 3 weeks I have to come and get my blood work. Chemo से पहले मेरे सारे blood work होते थे because your red blood, white blood cells, your
हाँ,
neutrophil count,
everything.
they have to check everything. क्योंकि मुझे फीवर्स आते थे तो देयर वर टाइम्स कि मेरी कीमो भी पोस्टपोन हो जाती बिकॉज़ व्हेन यू हैव हाई फीवर्स दे कांट
They
गिव यू
can't give
कीमो
you.
क्योंकि योर बॉडी इज सो इम्यूनो कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड दैट यू कैन गेट एनी अदर इन्फेक्शन और कीमोस के साथ कोई और इन्फेक्शन हो गया तो दिस विल बी अ वेरी
Attach,
रिस्क
yeah.
फॉर योरसेल्फ तो फिर उस टाइम पे ऐसे स्टेजेस आते थे कि मेरी कीमो कई बार पोस्टपोन हो गई है एक्सटेंड हो गई है क्योंकि मेरे हाई फीवर्स होते थे सितंबर 2019 आई मूव्ड बैक टू house and doctors told us ki we have to take a lot of precautions because she's really low in immune system, like her immune system is very compromised, so we have to make sure ki ghar jaake koi infection na ho, everybody has to take care of hygiene and everything. तो हमने ध्यान रखना शुरू कर दिया था घर पे. इनफैक्ट माय पेरेंट्स वर देयर, माय ब्रदर वाज देयर. वी मेड श्योर कि सब कुछ बहुत वे से हो रहा है जैसे जैसे सबने डॉक्टर्स ने बोला. तो जैसे जैसे कीमोज मिलती लाइक जा रही थी ना, फर्स्ट कीमो फिर सेकंड कीमो, आई यूज्ड टू गेट लॉट ऑफ पेन. वेन्स में जैसे ही कीमो जाती थी आई यूज्ड टू गेट लॉट ऑफ पेन ऑन माय वेन्स. और वो जैसे ही अंदर जाती थी तो आई कुड फील द पेन एंड आई रिमेंबर एवरी टाइम आई यूज्ड टू गो टू कीमो कोई ना कोई मेरे साथ होता था, लाइक माय डैड, माय मॉम, माय हस्बैंड. अगर ही इज
How
नॉट वर्किंग
long is this procedure? ये होता
2 घंटे लग जाते हैं.
2 घंटे.
वहाँ पे जब आप जाते हो, दे दे चेक योर वाइटल्स, दे चेक एवरीथिंग. फिर आपको कीमो का प्रोसेस समझाते हैं, उसके साइड इफ़ेक्ट्स बताते हैं. एवरी टाइम आई यूज्ड टू गो फॉर कीमो, कोई ना कोई मेरी फैमिली का होता था. एंड द बेस्ट पार्ट वाज़ आई यूज्ड टू सिट इन द रूम एंड आई यूज्ड टू फील कि वहाँ पे इतने सारे लोग हैं, जो अकेले आते थे. लाइक देयर वर सो मेनी पीपल यूज्ड टू कम अलोन टू गेट देयर कीमो डन, ड्राइव करके आते थे, जाते थे. बट आई वाज़ द ओनली पर्सन जिसके साथ कोई हर वक़्त बैठा रहता था. So that felt me like, I have that support.
Yeah.
And plus I stay in that country जहाँ पे इतनी extended families नहीं होती हैं. Things are different. In India it's different, right? Because you
Yeah.
have that support. तो धीरे धीरे I started losing my hair. That was the first side effect I could feel. मेरी body already swelled up थी और कीमोस के बाद और swelling शुरू हो गई, like the fluid and stuff. तो I used to have long hair. धीरे धीरे eyebrows गई, eyelashes गई. एंड देन आई यूज्ड टू गेट टैंगल्ड हो जाते थे मेरे बाल इतने ज़्यादा. बट मुझे ना आई डिडंट वांटेड टू लेट गो माय हेयर. आई रिमेंबर सेकंड कीमो के बाद आई वेंट टू सी माय ऑन्कोलॉजिस्ट एंड आई वाज टेलिंग हिम कि मेरे ना सर पे बहुत दर्द होता है. लाइक व्हेन आई स्लीप आई कैन नॉट स्लीप बिकॉज़ माय हेड पेन्स. ही वाज लाइक, "हरजीत, you need to let go your hair." So I was like, "I can't." Obviously, I belong to a Sikh community. जहाँ पे बाल is
Yes.
something which is, a religious thing, and I used to have long hair, and I was like, you have to let go. Eventually, they will go. But if you shave your head right now, you might feel better. You need to have satin pillows, caps and stuff like that. So they used to explain it very nicely. एंड थर्ड कीमो के टाइम पे आई रिमेंबर और झड़ने शुरू हो गए एंड after I came home, that conversation, my husband sat on the chair and he shaved his head. Obviously, he's Punjabi. He shaved his head, and my parents were sitting there, and then he asked me, Harjeet, sit, I'll shave your head. And at that time, he shaved my head, and my parents went inside. They could not see that face. And he shaved my head, he shaved his head. He supported me in that so that I don't feel alone in this journey. And uske baad, I used to talk to my parents, grandparents, and everybody in India on FaceTime. My dad used to say, cover your head and talk. उस वक्त ना मुझे रियलाइज नहीं हुआ ठीक है आई फील लाइक कि दे नेवर वांटेड मी टू समवन टू सी मी लाइक दैट तो सब कुछ जैसे चल रहा था वैसे चल रहा था कीमोज हो रही थी एवरी 3 वीक्स इट वाज पेनफुल माय बॉडी वाज गेटिंग सो ड्रेन्ड आउट मुझे याद है कीमो से मैं घर आती थी मैं इतनी थकी होती थी कि आई यूज्ड टू स्लीप फॉर आवर्स
Nobody recommended you in this three, मतलब जो ये time होता था something to take like Ayurveda or like breathing in
Right.
India.
So herbal meds, no. So when you go through chemo, you can't take any other treatment. We used to get a call, कि herbal treatment karao. See, I believed in the medical system. There are people who believe in the herbal medication.
Yeah.
But I feel because of the medical advancement and treatment, I am here today. I wanted to trust that process. It's okay. People have beliefs and
Okay.
trust, right?
Yeah.
So I believed 100% on the
So you
medical
used to
process.
eat the eating schedule was very
हाँ,
much
so
normal
everything,
then.
so chemos की वजह से nausea बहुत होता था and I have ulcers in my mouth. So they used to give me Ensure करके एक protein shake आता है. So I used to take lot of that because
Okay.
खा नहीं पाती थी मैं
हाँ.
कुछ. Whatever I used to eat, I used to puke. So उस time पे I used to take more of fluids and I was advised to take more of fluids and protein diet so that I can get that energy. कि
Okay.
जितनी कीमोज मिलती थी so first second day जो कीमो मिलती थी ना उसमें आप बिल्कुल drained out हो जाते हो. You can't do anything. And it all depends on different person, right? Like for
Yeah.
me, it was totally different.
Exactly.
It was too much for my body to take in. कि मैं
Mhm.
already fevers आ रहे थे मुझे fevers कभी कम ही नहीं हो रहे थे. Ulcers already हुए थे. My body was all swelled up. तो मैं mostly I remember I used to take Ensure उसका taste नहीं आता था but somehow form of protein shake मुझे दिया जाता था so I could take anything. क्योंकि
What
कुछ
used to
खाती थी
eat?
तो I used to puke.
अच्छा, खाया नहीं जाता था.
खाया नहीं जाता था. बिल्कुल नहीं खाया जाता था.
Milk and
नहीं,
anything.
कुछ
Indian
भी
जो
नहीं.
खाना होता है
आई
हमारा.
यूज्ड टू नॉट ईट एनीथिंग. मेरे को याद है मुझसे कुछ भी नहीं खाया जाता
दलिया,
था.
खिचड़ी,
कुछ नहीं.
nothing.
मैं लिटरली उस टाइम पे प्रोटीन शेक्स पीती. आई यूज्ड टू हैव
Okay.
इंश्योर ऑल डे और वो भी मुझे बहुत ही बेकार लगते थे और मुझे ज़बरदस्ती पिलाए जाते थे बिकॉज़ आई हैड टू टेक प्रोटीन इन माय डाइट. तो वो फ़ेज़ बहुत ही ज़्यादा वो था, एग्ज़ॉस्टिंग था, टायरिंग था. समहाउ आई जस्ट फेल्ट कि जल्दी खत्म हो सब कुछ, राइट? थर्ड कीमो के बाद मेरा पेट स्कैन हुआ.
Okay.
लाइक इट वाज़ प्लान्ड कि 3
हाँ.
कीमोज़ लेने के बाद दे विल डू
PET
अ पेट
scan.
स्कैन. तो उस टाइम पे पेट स्कैन हुआ एंड डॉक्टर्स कॉल्ड अस एंड आई रिमेंबर इट वाज़ मी एंड माय हस्बैंड. मॉम डैड कम ही जाते थे इस टाइम पे. दे यूज्ड टू गो फॉर कीमोज़ या ऐसा कुछ. And so I was sitting in a room and doctor came in and he said, Harjeet, I have your reports. And he was like, Harjeet, what's your appetite? And he was like, what do you mean? So he's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to live. I'm just 32 and I feel like
I
my
just
life is
started my
completely
life.
flipped.
Yeah.
I just want to get over with it. I'm tired and exhausted. So he was like, I have two options for you.
Mhm.
One, कि हम आपको कीमो देते रहें and we don't know how your body will react,
Till
how
when?
much time you have.
Yeah.
It all depends on person to person and every
Yeah.
person body is different and every person takes chemo in a different way. Second is to go for a stem cell transplant. And I was
Okay.
like, I don't know what is it. And then he explained us the process that stem cell transplant is something which will give you a new immune system. So we will actually kill your current immune system because your body is fighting against two things. One is cancer and one is HLH. So as we are giving you chemo to kill your cancer cells, the HLH condition is eating your good cells. So
Oh.
your body is fighting against your own body cells.
Yeah.
So he was like, it's very complicated. So if we give you a stem cell transplant, we'll kill your immune system and we'll
Yeah.
give you a new immune system.
At least you'll just have one force to work
Yes.
on then.
So he's like, that is the only way. And with stem cell transplant, I won't say how much will your life be, but it will give you a little lifelong, probably 5, 10.
Whatever.
So we
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
We'll just try our best to treat you. He just told us this thing, and he's like, please let me know ASAP because we have to schedule things accordingly. We went home. उस वक्त जब he told me and I felt कि शायद अब तो सब कुछ खत्म, you know, we're just trying our best to treat me and there's no way I will come out of it. So I remember the scenario. I went home and I went to the room and I shut my door and I didn't want to talk to anyone. I just cried and whined. I was like, there's no way. There's no way anyone on this earth could save me. And I felt कि हम सब कोशिश कर रहे हैं, but I know the result कि I'm not gonna make it. तो उस वक्त ना वो सारा जो भी था, I just took it all out. I was all alone. I cried. And after a while, I went outside of my room and the things were planned. Obviously, hum Indians, we don't ask. We just plan with the whole family, right? कि ये अच्छा है, ये अच्छा है, वैसा वैसा है. And it was all planned. I went out of the room and they said, we're doing a stem cell. And I was like, okay. तो मैंने पूछा कि बात करी डॉक्टर से, इंडिया में बात करी मेरे अंकल से या मेरी आंट से. So they're like, yes, we spoke to everyone and everybody wants to do a stem cell transplant. This will give you a life. ठीक है, प्लान हो गया. And plan was कि मुझे और कीमोस मिलेंगी and it was aggressive chemos. I used to get red devil. इतना बड़ा इंजेक्शन था, उसमें रेड कलर का लिक्विड था and that red devil is said that it's very painful and it is painful. जैसे जैसे वो इंजेक्शन डलता था मेरे अंदर, I used to feel the pain in my hand. I used to feel the pain over here. और मुझे आज भी याद है, आई यूज्ड टू क्राई व्हेन दे यूज्ड टू इंसर्ट आईवी के थ्रू जाता था एंड माय डैड और मॉम यूज्ड टू सेंड टेक्स्ट टू मी एंड वो पार्ट करते रहते, यू नो, एवरी टाइम दे यूज्ड टू डू पार्ट. और आई कुड फील दैट पेन. मुझसे ऐसा होता था कि नहीं हो पाएगा. एंड आई रिमेंबर माय डैड यूज्ड टू होल्ड माय हैंड एंड आई यूज्ड टू शिवर कि नहीं हो पा रहा है, नहीं जा रही है अंदर. तो वो फेज़ मुझे आज भी याद है कि वो कीमो बहुत मुश्किल हो रही थी मेरे लिए लेना. तो वो पूरा हफ्ता जब कीमो मिलती थी, उस वो पूरा हफ्ता ना आई वाज़ कंप्लीटली एग्ज़ॉस्टेड. मैं सोती रहती थी, कमरे में होती थी, कुछ नहीं हो पाता था मुझसे. लाइक आई वाज़ कंप्लीटली, यू नो, इन दैट ज़ोन कि मैं बहुत फटीग्ड हूँ, बहुत टायर्ड हूँ. बट सपोर्ट वाज़ सो स्ट्रॉन्ग कि मेरा खाना, मेरी दवाइयाँ, एवरीथिंग वाज़, यू नो, प्रिपेयर्ड एंड गिवन टू मी. सो आई वाज़ सो ग्रेटफुल कि मेरे पेरेंट्स, मेरे हस्बैंड, मेरा भाई, माय क्लोज़ फ्रेंड्स, एवरीबॉडी वाज़ देयर विद मी एट दैट टाइम, यू नो. तो वो सब प्रोसेस हुआ. उसके बाद दिसंबर एंड या जैन फर्स्ट वीक में ऑल ऑफ अ सडन आई स्टार्टेड हैविंग अ ब्लरी विजन ऑन माय राइट आई. एंड मैं ना, पापा लोग सब टीवी देख रहे थे बिकॉज़ उस वक़्त कुछ और करने को नहीं होता था. एवरीबॉडी वाज़ सो स्ट्रेस्ड. आई थिंक टीवी वाज़ वन ऑफ द वे टू
Yeah,
कनेक्ट
yeah,
एंड सी
yeah.
मूवीज़ एंड स्टफ लाइक दैट. तो आई वाज़ लाइक कि मुझे ना कुछ धुंधला दिख रहा है इस
Mhm.
आँख से. पापा वाज़ लाइक कि ठीक है डॉक्टर को दिखाओ जाके. तो फिर मैं गई अपने हस्बैंड के साथ हॉस्पिटल एंड दे सेड कि इट लुक्स लाइक कि हमें ना ऑप्थेमोलॉजिस्ट को दिखाना पड़ेगा, आई स्पेशलिस्ट को. We waited and then eye specialist came and he saw me and he's like, I feel that your lymphoma has gone to your eye. And when he said this, I was like, not again. I mean, I am preparing something for myself, which is a stem cell. कि मैं अपने माइंड को समझा रही हूँ कि, you know, कि
Exactly. For
मुझे अब
one
ये
thing.
करना है. And now कैंसर गोइंग टू माई आई इज अ न्यू थिंग. तो फिर उन्होंने कुछ बायोप्सीज करी आँख की एंड वहाँ पे उनको पता चला कि ये CMV रेटिनाइटिस है, विच इज़ रेटिनल इन्फेक्शन जो जनरल लोगों को भी होता है. बट बिकॉज मेरा इम्यूनो सिस्टम इतना कॉम्प्रोमाइज था कि आई गॉट दैट. एंड देन दे सेड दैट वी हैव टू डू बायोप्सी, वी हैव टू टेस्ट इट. एंड यू नो, इट वाज नॉट कैंसर बट इट वाज दैट. बट दे सेड कि वायरस एक्टिव है आँखों में और दिस कुड अफेक्ट द लेफ्ट आई. तो अगर हमने इस वायरस को ट्रीट नहीं किया तो इट आई कैन लूज द विजन ऑफ माई लेफ्ट आई टू. तो फिर उस टाइम पे मेरी कीमोज भी हो रही थी. आई वाज ऑलरेडी गोइंग थ्रू सो मेनी थिंग्स, यू नो, वी वर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर कीमो, वी प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर स्टेम सेल एंड फीवर्स भी आ रहे थे. फीवर्स तो कभी रुके ही नहीं मेरे. एक मेरे को याद है फेब का महीना वाज सो एग्जॉस्टिंग फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस बिकॉज़ एक हफ्ता मेरी कीमोज़ होती थी, एक हफ्ते मेरे आईज़ पे इंजेक्शन डलता था टू स्टॉप दैट वायरस सो दैट इट डज़न्ट अफेक्ट माय लेफ्ट आई. दूसरा हफ्ता कीमो, फिर ये, और उसी बीच में मुझे फीवर्स आते थे तो मेरी कीमोज़ के डेज़ ऊपर-नीचे हो जाते थे. So all that happened during that, Jan Feb.
Uh-huh.
And उसी के दौरान I felt that I think उसके 1-2 महीने पहले की बात है, which I missed. So I felt that I'm not having my periods. And I spoke to my oncologist, and he was like, Harjeet, I think that we need to show you to a fertility specialist. I feel that, we need to show you. मैं गई fertility specialist के पास, and she said, Harjeet, I'm very sorry, but because of the chemo, aggressive chemo,
early menopause.
you have been thrown into early menopause. You've lost your fertility. And उस वक्त I was like, और क्या worse हो सकता है? I'm going through the worst stage of my life, hearing that I have lost my fertility, I can't be pregnant, and then I'm going through this injections and chemos. तो उस वक्त ना मैं इतनी frustrated हो चुकी थी अपनी life से कि I was like, I'm done. मैं थक चुकी हूँ.
Give up.
I'm so done with everything. Like, I'm not expecting anything from anyone. I'm just done. So I remember I had a word with my husband, and I was like, you should have told me about this. We should have talked about fertility before starting the treatment. Like, we just had an argument, and he was like, Harjeet, our priority was you. He was like, we never thought of these things. Our priority was to save you first. So that was the conversation I had with him. And ठीक है, उस वक्त तक I didn't felt, but in my mind I still feel that grief that I wish I would have preserved my eggs. I wish I could have done something about it. ठीक है, that phase went. March 2020 was the plan of doing a stem cell transplant. The plan was to put me into partial remission. So partial remission क्या होता है? जहाँ पे कीमो सेल्स आपकी बॉडी कैंसर सेल्स आपकी बॉडी के कुछ हद तक कम हो गए हैं, ताकि आपको हम नया ट्रीटमेंट दे पाए, इम्यूनो सिस्टम वाला, इम्यूनो स्टेम सेल ट्रांसप्लांट. So they started giving me more aggressive chemo every week. Every week to just put me into partial remission. And the stem cell transplant was supposed to be happen in दूसरी city में. It was 3 hours drive from our place. So we went to that hospital, Tom Baker Cancer Center, बहुत बड़ा hospital है. वहाँ पे हम गए. We met with the team, the new team, जो मेरे stem cell doctors थे या जो भी treatment plan था. We were sitting in a conference room, ऐसा ही कोई room था round table वाला, and we sat there, and doctors were explaining the process. And obviously usse pehle they did ask me if I have a sibling, or my brother was there, so they did some tests on him, and luckily he was 100% match, which is a very very rare thing to have. A donor who is 100% match is very rare, and doctors were like amazed to see the results, and they were like, it's very rare, and your brother is your donor, and the process is that we will take out his stem cells, like in a way of process. क्या होता है कि he will be admitted in the hospital, and obviously they'll give him some booster injections to build his immune system, so that he can give good stem cells. So जैसे IV का आजकल medical advancements इतनी हो चुकी हैं, right? So he was admitted in hospital for 24 hours, and he was on IV fluid, IV लगी हुई थी दोनों तरफ. एक साइड से blood आ रहा था, एक साइड से they were extracting the stem cell. So he was in hospital for 24 hours, and वो जब हम उस room में बैठे थे, so they said the process will be very difficult, very painful for Harjeet.
Okay.
She has to be in hospital for 35 to 40 days, जिसमें प्लान होगा to kill her immune system. जो भी इसका बचा हुआ immune system है, we need to kill that. We'll give her chemo every day. We'll do radiation
Every single day.
for 7 days non-stop. So every single day there'll be a chemo. 3 दिन लास्ट के थे जो मेरे को रेडिएशन दी गई थी, फुल बॉडी रेडिएशन. आई फॉरगॉट द नेम ऑफ दैट रेडिएशन. वो ना रैबिट पे टेस्ट किया जाता है. सो दैट टेस्ट क्या जो भी वो होता है, दैट इज गिवन टू यू. सो दैट प्रोसेस इटसेल्फ इज वेरी पेनफुल, क्योंकि द होल थिंग वाज टू किल माय इम्यून सिस्टम. इमेजिन आपकी बॉडी के हर एक सेल को through giving you chemo and radiation every single day to put you into zero cell. तो वो प्रोसेस था, एंड उस टेबल पे दे टोल्ड अस दैट देयर माइट बी अ चांस दैट शी माइट नॉट सर्वाइव, बट बिकॉज इट्स 100% donor cells, plus she's young, so there might be a possibility she'll come out of it. So मान के चलो कि there were 20-30% chances of death, and they explained us very clearly. And उस वक्त तो ये था कि I'll go for my stem cell, my family will be there, my husband will be there, everybody will be there. The process was I'll stay in a hospital, and hospital के ही apartments होते हैं जहाँ पे patients
रह
की
सकते
family
हैं।
रह सकती है. So that was the plan. And all of a sudden, 17th March 2020, the global pandemic happened, and we got a call saying, "अभी एकदम से तो we can't start because it's pandemic. We are not prepared for it, and everything is shut down, and there's no visitor policy anywhere. We'll get back to you." और उसी टाइम में मुझे ना हल्का सा खांसी जुकाम हो गया था. फीवर्स तो आ ही रहे थे, and they thought COVID. I got myself tested, and luckily it was not COVID, it was some other flu disease, and उसकी medicines चली हफ्ता भर. And then I got a call कि 6th of April 2020 Harjeet needs to come to the hospital and we need to admit her, but no one can see her. She will be admitted,
Completely
isolated for 30-40 days, we don't know. But
For 30
no one can come and see her for those days,
And
30,
you
40 days.
went through all those chemos all by yourself.
Yeah. 6th of April 2020, when they told us that you have to be admitted, I remember we drove, and I was outside the hospital, and my mom, dad, husband, brother, we all were there. I hugged them, feeling that I might not see them again. This is the last hug I'm doing, and I literally felt in my mind that, I'm not coming back. क्योंकि अभी तक तो I had amazing support. I had everyone next to me,
Yeah.
hugging me, holding my hands, taking care of me. But उस वक्त मुझे लगा कि नहीं हो पाएगा, अब नहीं हो पाएगा मुझसे. I was in hospital for 35 days. 6th of April को मैं admit हुई. I think 5th या 4th में को I came out. And honestly, वो 35 days मेरी life के इतने difficult थे कि every day I was hoping and praying to, to be awake next day. पहली दिन सेकंड डे से मेरी कीमो स्टार्ट हो गई थी. पहली कीमो हुई, सेकंड कीमो हुई. धीरे-धीरे करके ना मेरी बॉडी स्टार्टेड गिविंग अप. आई वाज़ ऑन ऑक्सीजन पंप. I was on feeding tube. I was on painkiller pumps. I was in so much pain कि मुझे वो painkiller pumps लेने पड़ते थे. Every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes. मेरी body was in so much of pain कि मुझे रात और दिन का पता नहीं चलता था. And the only thing which gave me hope was I used to FaceTime, they used to FaceTime and see me, and I used to see them. I never used to talk, honestly, because मेरे को तो बात ही नहीं हो पा रही थी. Initial days में तो I could talk, but जैसे-जैसे दिन बढ़ रहे थे, I could not. मेरा immune system zero हो चुका था. My body started giving up. I went down to 42 or 45 kilos. Muscle mass reduce हो चुका था. वॉक नहीं कर पा रही थी हॉस्पिटल में. आई वाज़ इन बेड फॉर 35 डेज़, एवरीथिंग इन बेड. सो वो बहुत ही बड़ा नाइटमेयर था मेरी लाइफ का.
Your family was not allowed to see even for
No one could
once.
see. Because उस हॉस्पिटल में, उस रूम में, there were more immunocompromised patients. Obviously मेरे साथ-साथ they are also immunocompromised. Any single person, if he comes or she comes, if they can give infection to anyone, that whole room can be infected.
Yeah.
वो उस टाइम पे ऐसी सिचुएशन थी कि नो वन कैन सी यू, नो वन कैन कम एंड गिव यू एनीथिंग. इट वाज वन नर्स असाइन्ड टू एवरी पेशेंट. तो वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा डिफिकल्ट फेज था मेरी लाइफ का. एंड आई डोंट नो हाउ, ऑनेस्टली आज तक मुझे जवाब नहीं पता कि हाउ आई मेड इट थ्रू. इट वाज फेथ, इट वाज माय रेजिलियंस, इट वाज द फैमिली सपोर्ट, और इट वाज कि मुझे बस यहाँ से जाना है. Like I want
were
to
a
go back
warrior
to my
within,
family
yeah.
and hug them. So वो 35 days gave me that strength. And honestly उस time पे ना I wrote small thing for my family. I felt कि अगर मैं यहाँ से नहीं गई, I just want to write a message for them. I want to say them that how thankful and how grateful I was for them to be there for me every time, to provide me food, to provide me everything. But one thing which was missing, that we could not talk. We could not talk about the experience, the pain we all were going through.
Exactly. क्योंकि हर एक जने का अपना पेन था. I mean, your pain was like
Like it was for
can't be
everyone. I
defined,
feel
but
like
yeah.
he the whole family was going through cancer.
Yes.
और मुझे लगता है कैंसर सिर्फ आपको नहीं, आपकी पूरी फैमिली को इफेक्ट करता है. So that thing was missing.
You're affected like not only physically but mentally,
हाँ.
emotionally, socially.
It was too draining for
Yeah,
everyone. Like we were all going through that phase. But शायद उस टाइम पे मुझे लगा कि अगर हम बात करते तो शायद ये पेन थोड़ा आसान हो जाता. So I just wrote a small thing. I felt कि अगर मैं यहाँ से वापस नहीं गई तो at least this is something they can read कि मैं कितनी blessed थी to have them. So those 35 days when I went home, I was completely bedridden, zero neutrophils, zero red blood cells, zero white blood cell. I was on injections to boost my immune system,
Okay.
immunocompromised system. I got fever after that again. उसके बाद फिर एक और treatment मिला, and after that, thankfully, touch wood, until now, I didn't got any fever. So 2020, and this is 2025. In this April, I'll be completing my 5 years. Every year I go for my PET scan in April. 14th of April was my rebirth day. That's what they call it. I was in hospital. 14 April को जब मेरे को मेरे भाई के stem cell दिए गए, I remember the nurses when they were giving me stem cell through IV. जब वो खत्म हो गए, and she was like, "Happy rebirth day, Harjeet." And I felt okay. This is something I've never heard in my life. And they said that you got a second life. But you have to, and your family have to be very cautious because 100 days of post stem cell transplant are very risky for patients.
Very crucial.
One small infection can cause death. So those 100 days we were near to that hospital. My parents and my family took a rental place. We were there. It was a house which had stairs. I could not walk. I was so bedridden because 35 days I was in bed. मेरा muscle mass पूरा reduce हो चुका था. I could not walk for a single minute. I remember my husband and my brother used to lift me on the chair and take me to the room. और उस room में I was isolated. Everybody was used to come and put the food outside. And mask पहन के पूरा cover up होके they used to give me the food. No one used to touch me, because सबको डर था एक. And doctors have really warned us कि अगर हल्का सा भी infection हुआ, this could cause death. बहुत ज़्यादा precautions लिए हमने, और वो COVID का time था. So that was the time where everybody was really scared.
Yeah.
And I was completely bedridden. My mom used to take care of me. She used to give me shower, change my clothes, do everything. और उस वक्त ना मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि this is what not I expected in life. At the age of 32, going through all this, where I have to take care of my family is taking care of me. एक ऐसा pressure था mind में कि I'm so burdened on everyone right now. तो वो mind में आता ही आता
वो
था.
आता है.
And I was completely lost. And I remember after that I went to see my oncologist and I was like, I don't know what I want, but I feel अभी तक ना मेरी life में एक full time job थी. I used to go for treatment, medicines लो, दवाई खाओ, घर आओ, chemo लो.
Exactly.
अब क्या? I don't know how to move on with all these things. I feel lost. I'm alone. I don't know whom to talk to. But at that moment, he suggested me to talk to a psychosocial, a therapist, which today I would say has helped me a
Yeah,
lot.
so coming out of that cocoon is a task.
Like you don't know what's next.
हाँ, अब क्या करना है? वो एक डर के साथ कि यार ये किया, कुछ हो
हाँ,
गया तो क्या
so
कर
it
मतलब
was
and not only for you, I'm supposing like
it was for everyone. Everybody was scared because stem cell के time पे a patient can get graft versus host disease, which is a very serious infection which a lot of people after stem cell get, जिसकी medications चलती हैं, and they warned us like we can't expect her to get GVHD because GVHD can obviously cause certain things. तो बहुत precautions लिए हमने उस time पे COVID था, my family was there, so everybody took too many precautions just to make sure कि कुछ worse ना हो जाए. Somehow things passed, life. I'm blessed to have this second life. My brother was my donor. Without him, I won't have been here. And during that whole phase of time, I started writing my journey. Because I was in my room, I was not doing anything. I thought, why don't I write about my journey? And then I asked for help. I asked for organizations in Canada who were supporting these patients. So there were a lot of organizations in Canada Canada, there are organizations which are specifically for young adults like me. And I saw so many people who were young, like 20, 10, 15, 30, 35. They were so nice, the group was so nice. We used to have Zoom calls, we used to have online chats. I got connected to those people. I felt, they are my people.
Yeah.
They can understand my pain and I can understand their pain, because we still never talked. My family never talked. I know that everybody was scared,
I
but
think
no
ये
one talked.
इंडिया में ये issue है that it's like अगर हो गई ना problem, we don't never talk
हाँ,
about address the
never.
problem.
We just feel like, okay,
Yeah,
सब ठीक हो
yeah,
गया, let's just
बस
move
अब
on.
बस भूल जाओ इस
हाँ,
चीज को और आगे बढ़ो, अब नए सिरे से जिंदगी शुरू
that's
करो.
true.
They don't मतलब solve the issue.
And that's what happened. Like, I'm blessed to have my family. Like, I have this amazing support system, which I saw that not everybody has it over there. But one thing which I always feel was missing was a lack of communication between us, which I still feel अगर हम उस टाइम पे ये बात करते तो आज शायद वो जर्नी थोड़ी इजी हो जाती सबके लिए. वो 1 डेढ़ साल जो थे ना सबकी लाइफ के बहुत ज़्यादा स्कैरी थे.
Sure.
So I asked for help because I was struggling mentally. My physical appearance was so, like, I could not see myself on the mirror. I felt that I'm so drastically changed physically. Mentally, I was struggling. Financially, I was struggling because obviously, the place where I am, there was a public health system. My treatment was free, but my medications I had to pay. I had to pay out of pocket cost for my
And
medication
they
bills.
must be
And
taking a
yeah,
toll, I'm
it
sure.
was too much for us. Thankfully we were in a country जहाँ पे सारा healthcare system is free. But still, I advocated for my treatment, for my test. फिर उसके बाद we advocated for insurance, for pay bills and stuff like that. We still paid out of pocket cost, and which is still I'm blessed because अगर मैं यहाँ होती इंडिया में तो it would have taken a toll on all of us.
या एंड मुझे लगता है काफी सारे लोग इसलिए शायद गिव अप भी कर देते होंगे कि यार वी कैन नॉट अफोर्ड, मतलब है ही नहीं तो
हाँ,
कहाँ से देंगे यार.
क्योंकि ट्रीटमेंट इटसेल्फ इज वेरी एक्सपेंसिव इन इंडिया एंड आई एग्री. जब मैं वहाँ पे थी, आई रिमेम्बर माय फैमिली डॉक्टर्स टोल्ड अस दैट जो बैक होम इंडिया में दे टोल्ड अस दैट शी इज इन अ राइट प्लेस. तो जस्ट गेट हर ट्रीटेड ओवर देयर. जहाँ पे ये है वहाँ पे ज़्यादा रिसर्च है, वहाँ पे ज़्यादा स्टडीज हैं, वहाँ पे ट्रीटमेंट भी
बिल्कुल.
ऐसा है. तो आई फील कि आई एम ब्लेस्ड कि आई वाज इन अ राइट प्लेस एट अ राइट टाइम during COVID, having stage 4, going through a stem cell transplant. So I think everything was, you know, aligned in that
या
way. हाँ, इंडिया में आई फील कि ट्रीटमेंट आई नो लाइक आई डोंट नो मच अबाउट इंडिया में ट्रीटमेंट कितना फ्री है नहीं है. बट आई फील यहाँ पे लोगों को फाइनेंशियल स्ट्रेस बहुत ज़्यादा हो
बहुत
जाता है,
ज्यादा
एंड
होता है.
स्पेशली लोअर एंड मिडिल क्लास पीपल, बिकॉज दे फील दैट कहाँ से देंगे. And if they hear the word cancer, they're like, it's
एंड ऑफ द
it's
लाइफ.
end of the life. So why should we,
एग्जैक्टली,
pay
हाँ.
so much
बिल्कुल
to
बिल्कुल
start the treatment
बिल्कुल.
and then ending up the life of that person?
या
So that's there.
ये एक्चुअली दिस थिंग्स नीड्स टू बी एड्रेस्ड. आई वुड लाइक टू नो, ये सब जो फेस था, like what is that one thing you think कि अगर मेरे को स्टेज 4 पे like you had a detection, और but अगर उसके पहले
पहले हो
होता,
जाता. So I feel
what does it lack?
I wish I had, I had been diagnosed early, but obviously जितना मैंने research किया और जितना मुझे पता चला है, my type of cancer was so rare that it was not
It's
easy to detect.
hard to detect.
I wish if I would have been detected stage 1, stage 2, so I
Yeah,
could have, saved my fertility, probably not lose my vision or
exactly.
things like that. And the treatment would have been more, less painful for me. But I think that was
Yeah,
written
and
for me, or I would say there was nothing I could do in
like
this.
stem cells, your brother donated the stem cells. Like, was that process painful for him as well?
So when initially we got to know about the stem cell, obviously I had no knowledge. So I spoke to my oncologist and he explained us that we'll do some blood work on him, and once his blood works are out, we'll
Matches and
see
everything,
if
yeah.
he's a match or not. And then, as I mentioned, that he was admitted in a hospital, and it was a very simple process where, like blood transfusion, right? When you give the blood through IV fluid and they extracted the cells, it was all through bone marrow. Obviously, the
Yeah.
process was through bone marrow. And I asked him after a few, after certain months or years that was it painful? It's like, I was admitted in hospital. It was like, like a blood draw. So I think the medical advancements have gone so far now. Like the process is easy. We just need to educate people that it's not painful. It's non-invasive, right? I think that's the thing. So I remember my mom was a little worried that if he's a stem cell donor, will it be,
Difficult on his life
difficult
as
on
well.
his life or something like that. And it was very well explained to us. There's nothing like that. That's the lack of awareness we have.
क्योंकि ये आई थिंक अभी भी है वी सीन आई एम थैंकफुली बहुत सारे ब्लड डोनर्स हैं बट आई रेयरली हियर एनीवन गोइंग
Donating
आउट
a
एंड
stem
डोनेटिंग द
cell.
स्टेम सेल्स
Yeah. And I don't know in India or not they have this, but over there are services where you go and donate your stem cell. I think there's certain age they look for below 30 or something like that.
Okay.
Because obviously if you're old, your stem cell will
Yeah.
not be so good as the
Strong,
young
yeah.
person. So I think people should get more awareness about a single stem cell donation can give someone life. I feel like I am here because of my brother. I got this second chance because of him. I mean, if I didn't had a sibling, probably they would be looking for a donor globally. And I might not have got an exact match, or they might have to wait for 6 months or 7 months. And that time period, I didn't had that much of time, right? So I feel I was really blessed to have my brother as my donor, and I would really address people to please, we can save someone's life.
Yeah.
Maybe a kid. There are so many kids who have been diagnosed with blood cancer. There are so many, young people who are going through cancer, and not every treatment has a stem cell transplant. Majorly, what I've seen is mostly blood cancer patients goes through a stem cell transplant, or if who has a very critical,
I think in
situation.
India, Delhi has a hospital which does this stem cells preservations and
Okay.
it's helping
My
with
brother's stem cells have
yeah.
been preserved.
And I would really like people to come out of their
Yeah.
house and please take this initiative. Chances क्या रहते हैं मतलब I know the siblings का thanks to Bollywood
Has to
also
be.
and yeah you have also tell कि siblings के match होता है
हाँ.
but unknown person के भी stem cells match हो सकते
I've
हैं.
seen the stories. I've seen like obviously I do talk about this a lot, and I've been connected with a lot of other organizations where they go and donate the cells. And there's a national, I don't remember the NCSD करके एक organization है जहाँ से people have donated their stem cells to different countries because it's a
Wow.
global thing,
It's a
right?
global thing, yes.
So we were told अगर एक person मेरे भाई के stem cell नहीं match
So
करेंगे
we
या
can look
नहीं
out as
मिलेंगे,
well.
so they'll test on my parents. But parents, because they were 50 plus, so there might be a chance that they'll not be 100% match or some level of match. So then they would go on a global system where lot of people have donated the stem cells. So us way se they will look for a match.
And how about the stem cell preservation at the time of birth?
So for me, they did get lot of good cells from my brother. My brother's stem cells were really nice, so they got good bunch of stem cells preserved for me. And they told us that we have your brother's stem cell for future, like just in case if it gets relapsed or if something comes
Yeah.
back, we might need to do another stem cell transplant. Then we have this preserved for you, which was free of cost for me because obviously I am a
You
cancer
are-
patient, right? But I know that there are charges over there to preserve stem cell, but that's fine. You never know.
You never
This
know
could
this.
help someone out there.
Yes. So it is recommended like
Yeah.
at the
And I
time
think
of birth.
newborns, the baby who are newborn, a lot of time over there, it has been told or informed
Yes.
to the mothers or to the parents that,
Yeah. I think अब तो ये procedure बन गया है कि
हाँ.
at that the time of delivery, the doctors do come and ask you, do you want to preserve the
Yeah.
stem cells for the future or not? This is a definitely a medical
And I think every
advancement.
person should do that, whether there's a small cost or if they can afford that cost, right? I mean, it's good to preserve the stem cells of your kid.
So this is all about the physical, and we did talk about the emotional, the what you went through. I want people in India specifically. I don't know why they are not addressing these issues a lot. And you have now you are also running Chai and Hope,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
what is that organization all about, and how do you want to address कि mental emotional stigma हमें पहले heal करना पड़ेगा, and then अगर हम मेंटली और इमोशनली हील करते हैं, एक साथ रहते हैं, तो शायद फिजिकल जर्नी, ये जो पेन है,
इजी हो
वो
जाता
थोड़ा सा इजी हो जाएगा।
I think this all started, obviously, I told you, मैं after stem cell, when I came home, I was struggling mentally, physically, and socially. पिछले 1 डेढ़ साल में जब वो diagnosis हुआ and I was going through everything, I was completely shut out of the world. मेरी किसी से ज़्यादा बात नहीं होती थी. Not a lot of my friends have any clue about what was going on. And then when I came home and I was going through all this, I connected with organizations over there. यहाँ पे rehabilitation programs भी हैं cancer patients के लिए. There are different organizations like Canadian Cancer Society, Lymphoma Leukemia Society, which is specifically blood cancer के लिए है. So when I was, connecting with all these organizations, I faced that I don't see my people there. My own color. I could not see कि मेरे अपने लोग हैं उस organization में, and I felt ऐसा क्यों? Is it just me who got cancer या कुछ और है? And then I dig down deep, और जितना ज़्यादा मैं involve होती गई, उतना ज़्यादा मुझे ऐसा लगने लगा कि there's a huge stigma, huge myth around कैंसर इन आवर कम्युनिटी. और वहाँ पे भी है, क्योंकि वहाँ पे भी हमारे वहाँ पे बहुत इंडियंस हैं, साउथ एशियंस हैं. And I wanted to do something about it, and I started talking. And first time I did was shared my blog globally, which I wrote stage 1, stage
Yeah.
2, stage 3 of my diagnosis and stuff. I shared it globally. It went to a lot of public thing, and
But I'm sure this sharing would also been very difficult for
it
you.
was difficult. But the reason I shared initially through social media was I felt maybe someone out there
Needs to
would
hear.
have been feeling the same way what I felt. Maybe someone out there is feeling alone in this journey. So that's how it started. The first time it started was with the blog, and then I shared my bald head picture, I shared my story. A lot of people came into me and they had no idea what I was going through. A lot of DMs came by and people were shocked, because all of a sudden after 1.5 year I came in, I shared this news. Good, bad, everything was there. People didn't like I posted
Mixed,
my
सब
head.
कुछ
It
चल
was
रहा
mixed. My mom didn't like कि I put my shaved head picture outside, and
हाँ.
she was not happy with that.
Exactly, and definitely with the Sikh community, तो
With the Sikh
वहाँ से भी
community, and going through all this and sharing this picture and sharing all these things online publicly was not something which she ever wanted. But it took a lot of time for my parents to get through this, and I was completely vocal. I went completely vocal about my journey through my social media, through events, through organizations. And when I was vocal and I was talking about it, I really filled this gap where I felt कि वहाँ पे मेरे लोग क्यों नहीं हैं. I don't see my own colored skin.
हाँ.
So जब जैसे जैसे मैं इतना involved होती गई, I started talking about the stigma. I did research. I did hear a lot of things like वहाँ पे जब मैंने 1-2 इंटरव्यूज़ किए, through Indian channels and all that. So people used to call and say, it's a problem. They never used to say a word cancer. They used to say it's a problem.
Really?
Yes. And over here as well. It's very common. If you have you seen people saying a name?
नहीं.
No. So that's one of the things. When you're not addressing the thing, how would you?
कई जगह तो मैंने आई वाज जस्ट रिसर्चिंग, कई जगह इसको बैड कर्मा भी
Yes,
बोला
I
जाता
was
है.
I was talking about this thing as well. People say it's a bad karma and you might have done something bad in your life. That's why you got it. What about the kid? If there are small babies who've been diagnosed with cancer, what if what that karma relates to the kid? So I see people in India. I think people believe that it's karma, but I feel that this was we could have not done nothing to stop this, and no one have done anything to stop this. There are a lot of myths around cancer. There's bad karma. People, what the new thing I've heard is people say it's contagious.
ओहो.
So how is it contagious? Please explain. It's not COVID. It's not anything else, right? So why are we talking about these myths? Because it's a lack of education, lack of awareness. हम इसके बारे में openly बात ही नहीं करते, और हम कोई भी चीज़ इससे रिलेटेड हो हम नहीं बात करते, वेदर इट्स क्रिटिकल इलनेस, मेंटल इश्यू, डिप्रेशन, एंग्जायटी, ये सब चीज़ें लोग बात ही नहीं करना चाहते.
तो एक करता है कि उसको चुप करा देते हैं हम
हाँ,
कि
और
ऐसा
वो
कुछ
हमारी
नहीं है, सब भूल
सोसाइटी
जाओ.
में है.
या.
अगर हम आई स्टिल फील कि आई विश आई हैड मोर नॉलेज अबाउट कैंसर. आई डिडंट हैव टू गो थ्रू ऑल दिस. I wish I had more knowledge and awareness about this thing. तो मुझे लगता है कि वी शुड टेक कैंसर एज एन ओपन कॉन्वर्सेशन एज अ मेडिकल, हर किसी को कोई इलनेस होती है, सो वी
Yeah.
शुड ट्रीट इट एज अ मेडिकल इलनेस, जिसको
Yeah.
हम थ्रू मेडिकल एडवांसमेंट सही, इफ यू गो
सही
बैक
कर
इन
सकते
टाइम,
हैं, कैन बी।
इफ यू गो बैक इन टाइम 15 years 20 years बैक, तब तो कुछ इलाज भी नहीं था कैंसर का। आज वी हैव सो मच ऑफ स्टडी, रिसर्च, इम्प्रूवमेंट, मेडिकल एडवांसमेंट कि उसका इलाज भी हो पा रहा है।
डोंट यू थिंक आजकल ये कैंसर, आई डोंट नो, इसका डिटेक्शन ज्यादा हो रहा है या फिर ये एक्चुअली में ज्यादा हो रहा है? इट्स ऑल अबाउट द
I
रेडिएशंस वी
think
आर लिविंग
it's about, I
बिटवीन।
think हाँ, you're right, because पहले इतना हम कैंसर के बारे में नहीं सुनते थे,
हाँ,
right? And I feel that I have been hearing a lot about cancer, obviously
हम
मेरे
बहुत ज्यादा
diagnosis के time
रेडिएशंस
पे
के
भी
बीच
और
में
उसके
रह रहे हैं।
बाद भी। I feel it's all about the lifestyle, the global changes, the
Yeah.
whole thing, the atmosphere, or probably it's everything in the air right now.
Exactly, because agar the products we are using on our body, like phthalate free, sulfate free, it has to be
हाँ,
like that. अगर हम जब ये चुनने लगे हैं, क्योंकि ये मैंने केमिकल प्रोडक्ट्स हम जितना
हाँ,
यूज करते हैं कि it goes into your body, its
हाँ।
skin and
I know जब मेरा diagnosis हुआ था तो उस time पे obviously I lost my hair, I lost my
yeah,
eyebrows and eyelashes, and there's an organization जहाँ पे they used to give us knowledge about the products, what is better for you, like sunscreen you should use and this and that.
exactly.
So that was so good education to me. Like I had no idea about all these things.
तो क्या होना चाहिए? Like what is that, those
See,
things which
I'm
you
not,
think?
obviously I'm not a doctor, I'm not
Yeah,
a specialist in that, but I just feel like if you feel that you're going through this treatment, and if you have some questions about the products, and there are dermatologists, like I had my dermatologist over there,
mhm,
I had my nutritionist there, so I had these questions through them.
mhm.
So, and there were organizations like a support groups where I could talk to some other people, right? I could ask what products I should use, what things
हाँ,
I should
because
use, what
these
should I
are some
eat.
communication सबसे
हाँ,
पहले जो आती है यार, अब ये शैम्पू लगाएं या अब ये ब्यूटी क्रीम लगाएं, अब माइक्रोवेव हम यूज करें, because using of microwave, I think it's a myth, or I have
I
not.
think it's so we were scared initially too, but obviously I don't want to comment on that because everybody
Yeah,
has a different perspective. All of so I did ask my oncologist or doctor over there, like, is it okay to use microwave? So what I heard was like, because in hospitals food is warm in
microwave.
microwave. एक certain temperature पे होता है, don't use plastics. Obviously ये सबको
Yes.
पता है, right? So I think just take precautions. If you can avoid certain things, good. If you can't, then take precautions.
Yeah, because using of plastic in microwave
Yeah.
is carcinogenic.
Like for me, after all this, we have made sure that I have made certain changes in my life. I
Like,
make sure that I eat proper diet. I avoid a lot of uh, food which is not in a hygiene level. So because it's me who have to take care of myself, right? And since I've been coming to India more often now, and every time I come here and I've been told that make sure you drink water,
enough of, yeah, fluids
water,
are there. Yeah.
kahi hygiene, non-hygienic place say I should not eat. So every person and every treatment is different, right? But I think when you have cancer, you have to make sure that you live a better life. So that you should take care of your food, you should take care of your health. Like I have been doing yoga, meditation, and journaling. That has helped me. A lot of people do exercise, work. So these are the things, but there are doctors who tell you. Like
Yeah.
for me, I had the team of doctors who told me each and everything. Whatever questions I had, I was answered. So same thing in India. If you have some questions, I feel like you should ask your doctors about it. If you feel certain thing is not right, please ask. There's no shame in asking for help.
Yeah. Like again, if I come back to what to after you think like an आपका recovery होने लगा, any dips you have faced after that, या
For
फिर you stop using certain things completely, or completely out of the house?
ऐसा तो honestly ऐसा तो कुछ भी नहीं किया मैंने. I as I mentioned, I started doing yoga. So over there I
The
started.
lifestyle changes
हाँ,
basically.
I used to do yoga पहले भी. ऐसा नहीं है कि I never used to do. There was nothing which I felt मैंने गलत
Something
किया
wrong.
इसलिए
Yeah.
मुझे हो गया. Initially I had this thing in my mind what wrong I did in my life कि हो
Yes.
गया, and I remember my oncologist explaining me that Harjeet, this is nothing you've done in your life. Very uncertain, you know, that this has happened to you. So don't take it in that way that you've
Exactly.
done something in wrong in your life, that's why you got it. And it's so easy for doctors to say it. I feel like doctors should be someone who should explain you things
Exactly.
very nicely and clearly and give you that positivity that
Qualities should be the good
yes,
listener.
yes. So I feel doctor over there, he was amazing to explain me everything. The things I obviously I did was, as I mentioned, so I was completely bedridden. I could not walk. I could not do anything. So I joined a rehabilitation program there. Over there, they have some exercise program for cancer patients because it was COVID. सब कुछ online था. So I started doing that online program. इससे थोड़ी बहुत मेरी strength वापस आई. I used to do little bit walk, little jog. घर पे ही होता था सब कुछ, which really helped me, in coming
करेगा
back to my new normal. धीरे धीरे वो किया. उसके बाद I joined yoga program. I joined वहाँ पे ना art therapy sessions होते थे. There are a lot of things happening over there for cancer
basically
patients.
आपको internally I
हाँ.
think they were trying to cure you mentally
हाँ.
so that you can
Yes.
fight physically
Yes,
अपनी
yes.
चीजों
They
को
were trying to help and support every cancer patient over there through certain changes. Or अगर आप mentally इतने exhausted हो because of your treatment, there are art therapies, there are reading,
yeah
there are different kind of activities happening which you can join online. Obviously, COVID था तो सब
yeah
कुछ online था. So I think that has helped me, and connecting to the same kind of people who were going
yeah
through this journey has also given me more strength.
this actually says this thing कि mental illness कितना मतलब mental आपका cure होना कितना जरूरी
तभी
है
तो आप फिजिकली
तभी
फिट
आप
होगे.
physically हो
लाइक
पाओगे
ओवर हियर आई फील लोग कहते हो
सिर्फ
एक्सरसाइज करो,
physically
सब करो, फिजिकली अपने आप को वो रखो, एक्टिव रखो, बट अगर आप मेंटली ठीक नहीं हो तो आप फिजिकली नहीं ठीक हो सकते.
yeah
दैट्स ऑल इन योर हेड. लाइक वी हैव टू मेक श्योर दैट वी आर मेंटली स्ट्रांग इनफ so that we can physically be strong.
true 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 this journey is like literally was पूरा हिला देने वाला and I'm sure जितने भी लोग आपसे कनेक्ट हुए होंगे यू हैव चेंज सो मेनी पीपल्स लाइफ उनको बता के व्हाट आर दोस थिंग्स यू रियली वांट टू टेल और एड्रेस
So I never
कि
thought that.
एटलीस्ट टू द फर्स्ट टू द फैमिली ऑफ द पेशेंट्स
So one thing I never thought was that cancer would change me completely. It has changed me completely. It has given me a new perspective to life, where I feel I need to support and help other people out there. I feel that in this journey, a lot of people are going through, this thing where they feel alone, left out, because sometimes their own family or their own loved one feel that as I mentioned, it's contagious, it's a
या
problem. So you're making it more worse for that person. So I feel you need to help and support the person. First is that support is really important. Any small kind of gesture would really help that patient to come out of it. Listen to the patient, and I know it's tough for family to go through all this. So I think people around them, or people who are supporting them, they should understand that what they are going through is very painful, and any kind of small help could support them, whether it's providing meal, taking them for the hospital, taking care of their transportation. So all these things really help patients and their family. Just be kind to those people, right? I would say. And for those families and patients, just don't lose hope. you know if you feel that you're losing your strength, or you're losing mentally, just ask for help. There's no shame in asking for help.
लोगों को लगता है उनका नजरिया बदल गया है when you see someone I think the people the way they treat you it's something very different
Yeah.
तो उसको लोगों के लिए भी उसको नॉर्मली एक्सेप्ट करना ये कई बार
ये
चैलेंजिंग
मुझे
होता
भी
होगा
लगता
ना
था जब इनिशियली आई फील लाइक आई डोंट वांट टू फील दैट बेचारा. आई
Yeah,
डोंट वांट टू
and
बी
especially
बेचारा इन
the
फ्रंट ऑफ
first time you would
एवरीवन.
have flew from Canada to here and that dirt and how
हाँ.
would
And
have people treated you?
yeah, like first time I came to India was in 2023, after 5 years, after my COVID and cancer.
Everything,
Like
yeah.
2018 ko I left, and then I came back in 2023. Those 5 years of my journey was so tough that I never thought that I'll ever come back and see my family. उस टाइम पे ऐसा था कि मुझे तो पता भी नहीं कि मैं इंडिया जा भी पाऊंगी या नहीं. So those were the times when I used to tell my husband, एक बार मुझे इंडिया जाना है, please एक बार इंडिया जाना है. At that time it was not easy for me to travel to India. So thankfully I came. The first time I was traveling to India, I was so scared. I was scared of getting infection. I was scared कि मैं easily safely वहाँ पहुँच जाऊँ और यहाँ से safely वापस पहुँच जाऊँ। तो everyone was scared. उस वक़्त मेरे डॉक्टर्स ने भी मुझे बहुत गाइडेंस दी थी that I have to make sure I avoid this, I avoid this, I avoid this. तो वो फर्स्ट टाइम बहुत प्रिकॉशंस लिए। माय मॉम वाज स्केयर्ड कि पहली बार इंडिया आ रही है, इसके खाने का, इसके पीने का, वी हैव टू मेक श्योर सब कुछ हाइजीनिक वे से हो। तो वो डर हमेशा रहता है और वो डर रहेगा। फॉर मी दैट डर इज़ ऑलवेज़ देयर।
So do you eat packaged foods or street
बहुत कम,
foods?
बहुत कम, बहुत कम। Like
Or
I avoid, eating most of that kind of food, but नहीं होगी choice तो I will, but I avoid. I prefer eating at home या healthy खाऊँ और अच्छा खाऊँ, अच्छी nutrition diet लूँ। That's one thing which I want to do. And
in some recent research, I was just going through gluten and in the dairy. They say these are the
वहाँ
major
पे भी
culprits.
like dairy I don't take too much. Like it's like हमारे इंडिया में एक वो भी बहुत बड़ा मिथ है ना, दूध heals
हाँ.
everything. No, I don't know how true is that. ठीक है, I listen to my body. I feel if my body is not okay with certain type of products or food, I not take it. And especially because I have a nutritionist over there. I have every 3 months
Did
follow
they
up.
stop your dairy or gluten?
No, they said everything in a limit is good, right? So obviously initial days when I was told that I can't have dahi ghar ka.
Okay.
तो
घर
because
का?
हाँ
Why?
because I was into a stem cell transplant तो वो घर पे जब आप फर्मेंट करते हो तो उसमें
Yeah,
बैक्टीरिया
bacteria. I mean, I think this is US में भी ये है कि they don't allow you to
हाँ
eat घर का दही.
हाँ so initially 2 years तक नहीं but अभी भी if I come to India I avoid I take the packet one only ठीक है that's in my head or that's has been told me तो इतना ही करती हूँ मैं but I feel listen to your doctors what they suggest you just listen to what your doctors and their diet is prescribed आई फील यहाँ पे सब अपने आप को डॉक्टर मानते हैं
डॉक्टर मानते
हैं और
हैं
सबको
गूगल
अपने
डॉक्टर भी है
हाँ
हमारे पास.
आई रिमेम्बर गूगल डॉक्टर से याद आया व्हेन आई वाज गोइंग थ्रू माय ट्रीटमेंट तो उस टाइम पे ना आई यूज्ड टू डू लॉट ऑफ गूगल एंड एवरी टाइम आई यूज्ड टू गूगल the Google used to tell me that I don't have more than 5 months to survive because of my type of cancer and stuff. तो आई रिमेम्बर मैंने डॉक्टर को बोला तो ही सेड कि स्टॉप आस्किंग गूगल एनीथिंग ही इज नॉट योर डॉक्टर उसके बाद से ना आई डोंट ट्रस्ट on doing I if I have questions I'll ask my doctor. That's the one thing I want to do.
Yeah, I think because Google doctor is there, WhatsApp universities are there.
AI is there. So
Yeah. So हमें और ये सब चीजें हमारे माइंड को करे ना करे हमारे फैमिली के माइंड को
हाँ,
इतना ज्यादा इन्फ्लुएंस कर देती है कि और लाइक एंड ऑफ द डे ना सब लोग ये लेना चाहिए वो नहीं लेना चाहिए.
like my mom was I remember मेरी mom ना उस टाइम पे मुझे हल्दी देना चाहती थी.
हाँ.
So my doctor said no.
Yeah, because yeah, I was about to come there because haldi is one of the most inflammatory, इसमें
तो मेरे डॉक्टर्स
anti-inflammatory
ने उस वक्त मेरी
properties
मॉम को
होती हैं.
मना कर दिया था you are not giving her anything like that. If anything is given to her it should be cooked or a form of cooked thing.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yes, there are a lot of things needs to be.
Hey, it's
Yeah.
not bad. Like I know haldi is good. There are a lot of things people are doing, which is okay. But for me, I'm little nervous to try something new. I would always ask my health team if I am doing anything, if I'm taking
Yeah.
anything. I just want to make sure that I am on the right step.
So have you been started your exercising and
हाँ,
everything?
वो
So
चल रही है
back to
हाँ.
normal.
So rehabilitation program मेरा चल रहा है अभी. So I've accepted. I've
This is what,
accepted this
yeah.
that this is what it is. This is my new normal. I have to embrace it, right? And it takes time. Like there are days when I'm like totally tired and exhausted. There are days when I'm like I don't want to do anything. I mean, because I have so much of side effects of my treatment. Like I have back pain, I have aches, and so I'm not going back to my
Same
previous
thing,
life,
yes.
but I have actually embraced this as
The new
a new normal in my
And what
life.
about your husband? Like,
So it has been challenging for both of us because at the young age, I think we've gone through a lot.
yeah.
We were just 32, and it's just not me. He's gone through a lot, so it has taken a toll on him as a caregiver because he's been amazing. Without his support, I think I wouldn't have been here. And we do talk about things, and it's not an easy journey for him. I feel I'm
It's
still
not.
more, I've healed the way I've talked to my through my journey, but I feel he's still, not spoken.
Have you guys planned of adoption or something like that?
So that's what I want to do now. Like when I came this year, I felt like I need to adopt and I need to start the process. One thing I want to do is to adopt a girl child from India, because I feel still how India has grown economically and everything, but we still have that thing with the girl child in a lot of places where the girl kids are abandoned. And I feel like I can help and support and give a girl a life. So I really want to one day adopt a girl child from India. The process is not easy for me anymore because I'm not an Indian citizen. So it has been a challenge, but I hope and pray that I could do this. I want to adopt a girl child from India and give her a life.
That's such a noble and a humble thing.
Yeah.
We can
I think I am here because for a reason. I feel like everything happened for a reason. I'm here. I got this second life so I could help and support other people out there. So I feel like, I don't believe in like destiny and all, but I feel like everything was very much aligned for me. And I'm here to do something about it.
और ये कनाडा में अवेयरनेस कैसी है स्टेम सेल्स की लाइक आर दे इनटू दिस डोनेशन पार्ट और समथिंग
So Canada में I came across Canadian Blood Services,
ओके
जहाँ पे people go for blood donation and people do stem cell donation too. तो stem cell registries है वहाँ पे
Okay.
where people do their stem cell donation. Recently, I think last year, November, December के आसपास, someone reached out to me because I've been very vocal about my journey through my social media platform, through the events, through the organizations. So especially in South Asian community, I want to make a difference वहाँ पे because वहाँ पे भी same है. As a South Asian, वहाँ पे भी there is a stigma, there is a taboo. People don't want to talk about things. So that time I came across one person who is doing amazing in the South Asian community, bringing a change and stuff like that. So she reached out to me and she said that there's a guy who is 60 plus, 60 or 65 plus, and who's looking for a stem cell donation, stem cell donor. And but unfortunately, Canada में सिर्फ 8% ही लोग जाते हैं डोनेशन करने. So there are doing this drive, a stem cell drive in a gurudwara, जहाँ पे they want your story to be presented so that people can know more about how its stem cell can save someone's life. So I did a small collaboration with them, and I really wanted to help and support them. And after that video, obviously, it was shared in different platforms. And Gurdwara में ये drive हुई थी where they had this booth from Canadian Blood Services, and I think almost 1100 or 1200 people came to donate their stem cells.
That's a good number.
And because it was a South Asian guy who was 60 plus, so they were looking for South Asian, donation. So I think this could really help people in giving that awareness through Gurudwara, through certain platforms, through certain channels where we can actually talk about it, because I feel हमें इसके बारे में अवेयरनेस देनी पड़ेगी क्योंकि लोगों को नहीं पता, लोगों को
हाँ क्योंकि सबको
नॉलेज ही नहीं है, तो कहाँ से पता चलेगा, राइट? व्हेन दे लिसन टू माय स्टोरी, देन देयर आर सो मेनी पीपल जिनको स्टेम सेल के बारे में कुछ नहीं पता था.
हाँ नहीं
People who have heard about my stories, तब जाके उनको पता चला कि oh, there is something called stem cell transplant and that could save someone's life. So I feel that is very important. So I was so happy that Gurudwara did this initiative over there through Canadian Blood Services. So I'm sure India में भी ऐसी blood services होंगी, organizations होंगी जहाँ पे I think we need these stories to be run.
Yeah, definitely, yes. Any things you want to advise or to talk about like with our audience, like
I think
quick tips you want to give or say?
the first thing I would really like to say is that please never lose hope. And second thing is, through my journey, I've always seen that hope and resilience is something which I have, come over it. And now I feel that if someone is going through cancer, please make sure that you provide your support to that person and family, because that is very important. You don't want that person to go through this journey alone. And if someone is feeling alone in this journey, I'm happy to talk to that person. I have co-founded a page called Chai and Hope, which is especially for South Asian cancer community. And I felt that that page aligns to an open conversation where I want people to come and connect to each other. It's a global platform. It's just a baby for me right now. I'm looking for more stories. I'm looking for people to connect to that page so that they can meet other people who are sharing. And it's just a safe space for people like me, like, who are cancer patients, survivors, and caregivers. So I just want people to be, very supportive to each other going through this journey.
Thank you, Harjeet. It was such a pleasure talking to you,
Thank you.
and I really want to say to my audience, if you are listening us today, प्लीज इस चीज को, इस जर्नी को जरूर शेयर
Hmm.
कीजिएगा। बहुत सारे लोगों को ये जानना, सुनना और समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि कैंसर सिर्फ एक फिजिकल डिजीज या इलनेस नहीं है। उससे अगर हमारे पास मेंटल स्ट्रेंथ भी है, हमारे पास इमोशनली, सोशली सब साथ है, हम इसको फाइट ऑन कर सकते हैं। अर्ली डिटेक्शन इज़ वन ऑफ द थिंग। अपने आप को डायग्नोज कराइए। इफ़ यू आर फीलिंग लो, कुछ है प्रॉब्लम लगता है, तो प्लीज़ गेट द टेस्ट डन। बहुत ज़्यादा हम इग्नोर कर देते हैं खुद को। And yes, if you know anyone who needs to hear this story of Harjeet, do share. Until then, stay tuned. Anutalks.